Good morning. Welcome back to Eyewitness News this morning. I'm here with Charlie O'Hara, and he's here to answer any and all of your legal questions. Charlie, are you ready?
Ready to go?
Okay.
Let's go. Okay.
Sounds like we do have a couple of calls. First caller, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, I got crushed by a house jack about 5 years ago at a job that is now out of business here in Kansas, and I've been having back problems ever since. Can they be held responsible for my back problems now?
Well, I mean, I don't know enough of the facts to actually answer that for sure, but my guess would be, legal guess would be, it's too late. If it happened 5 years ago, you should have done something about it when it happened. You may have done something about it, and if you did that, then you probably signed all releases. You wouldn't get any more from it. If you did do something about it 5 years ago, it should have been the settlement or whatever happened for that, the money you got, should have included future medical problems, which you appear to be having now. So I don't know, but 5 years to file something is usually too late, except in some circumstances, like criminal cases and things. But most things have to be filed quicker than that.
Okay. Back to the phones. Caller, what's your question?
What was that?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, yeah, I can. Okay, my question is, my husband right now is currently incarcerated, and he put in a motion for the...
Ma'am, can you turn down the volume on your TV?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your question? Go ahead.
Okay, well, he's currently incarcerated right now, and he put in a motion for the Murdock situation. I guess it was pre-1993 cases that he got. And he was wondering, as far as people that's currently incarcerated, does that motion go for them, the Murdock situation? Does that go for people that's incarcerated, or is it people that's getting ready to go to prison that affects them?
Okay, well, what she's referring to is there's a case here, State versus Murdock, and what had happened was it had to do with your criminal history. In other words, the times you've been in trouble, and it specifically went into things before 1993 and how those cases would count as far as how much time you would get. That case is actually still in front of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments on it, but I don't think they've ruled on it. We just have a Court of Appeals decision, but it may very well affect people in prison. No one knows for sure. So we're going to have to wait until the Supreme Court says. It could, depending on how it's read and how the Supreme Court rules, but the Court of Appeals ruled in such a way that it may have reduced time for people that are incarcerated or are going to be incarcerated for certain offenses. It doesn't apply to all of them, only for certain offenses. Okay.
Thank you, Charlie. It does sound like we have a third call. Caller, what's your question for Charlie?
I was involved in a car wreck on April 2012, and I was just curious if we had time still to file a suit because I was not at fault with the accident.
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look up the time frame for sure, as I said before. It varies with different things. I would sure get a hold of some attorney right now because that time is running. Certain things can extend that time depending on what's happened. And so if it's April 2012, that's over 2 years ago, probably the time's run out, but I would sure check because it may not have. So I would check with an attorney, and I would do that very quickly. Okay?
Thank you so much, Charlie. Appreciate your time again.
Sure.
And of course, if you have another legal question, you can always call back next week. We're due for a short break here, but stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes.